let's talk about Miami here real quick because they're also in potential to be a 10-2 team. My first thought, Cato, when I saw Miami pop up at 15 in those rankings, ahead of Georgia Tech, number 16 team, I'm like, okay, it's alive. Frankenstein style. Like, there's a scene in Step Brothers where I believe it's John C. Reilly who's being buried by Will Ferrell. He knocks him out with a shovel, digs his grave in the front yard, starts heaping dirt on him, and then out of nowhere, Will Ferrell comes out with a shovel, hits him over the head, and he goes, "Wait a second, I buried you." He goes, "I slowed down my reflexes, slowed down my heart rate a little bit. You just thought I was dead." That's Miami. Now, Miami, you just thought they were dead. At number 15, feels like they're pretty alive. Now, I don't love the losses. I won't lie to y'all. Number 20, Louisville. Louisville behind them, even though they have the head-to-head. Interesting. The loss to SMU is not great. Wins are nice. A Notre Dame win to your name, a USF win to your name, which is a ranked win when you got it, and a ranked win right now. I don't think they control their own destiny. Scratch that. I know they don't control their own destiny because they are not in a spot to control their own ACC title destiny. But them being an at-large bid is really tricky. You are rooting hard for Pitt right now because they knocked Notre Dame out from ahead of you, who you had the head-to-head, but it doesn't matter. You're rooting for Pitt to look awesome against Notre Dame and then be as highly ranked as possible when you play them, and then you got to go wax Pitt. Like Pat Narduzzi's talking about, he doesn't care if Notre Dame wins by 100 against them this week. Miami, you got to win by 100 when you play Pitt to feel good about your chances to move up these rankings. So, Cato, I have a hard time seeing the most chaotic conference in college football getting 2 teams in. Now we have a 1-year sample size, the 12-team playoff. But last year with the Big 12, it was awesome. It was the most chaotic conference, but the most chaotic conference doesn't usually get 2 bids into the dance. So that's kind of how I feel about Miami. I still think it's going to be a 1-bid league. But Miami at 15, man, they're alive. They're alive, and they're a talented team. If they were to find their way in, they are good enough, I think, to win a game at their best. Now, we've also seen, if they're not on their P's and Q's, Carson Beck will give you the football 3-4 times, and you'll have a great time celebrating your playoff win after the fact, should you play Miami not on their best day. But they're alive, Cato. Your thoughts on the Hurricanes with the potential of them being 10-2 with a couple of nice wins on the resume for the old boys out there in 305.
Yeah, man. This was the part of the rankings show that jarred me the most. Like when you see Miami move up 3 spots after a win over Syracuse, you're like, wait, why? Like what? Like why are you jumping over? Like I get that Wake Forest losing, Louisville losing, like some of the carnage in the ACC, they by default you go up. But Georgia Tech didn't play last week. And why is Miami passing Georgia Tech? Like, that's where I'm starting to be Windhorse, why is that? Like, what are we doing here? I think the committee is trying to set Miami up for a potential at-large bid, but I just don't see it happening. The only way they get in for me is if there's a bunch of carnage between them and Notre Dame, and all of a sudden it's Notre Dame versus Miami for the last playoff spot, and Miami has the head-to-head win. I think that's the only scenario. Other than maybe just some more carnage in the ACC and they end up in the ACC title game. Still looking unlikely. There's obviously all those teams in the mix ahead of them that have 1 ACC loss, the Virginias, the Louisvilles, the Georgia Techs. So, yeah, man, it was a little bit of a head-scratcher when I saw them pass Georgia Tech despite Georgia Tech not playing and them beating Syracuse. But, yeah, I think unless it comes down to them and Notre Dame for a playoff spot, they're not gonna really be in the mix. I think this is the committee kind of throwing them a bone just in case a series of unfortunate events happens for some other teams and they can maybe backdoor in. But again, like I said with Notre Dame, 2-loss Miami versus any 2-loss SEC, that's not happening. They need a lot more 3-loss teams to exist, I think, at large in these rankings to be a serious contender because it gets hard at that point for them.
Kiddo, your boy is a trash basketball player. Like rec league, your boy's not going. Maybe they're picking me for hops or hustle or a little bit of juice running down the court. But I'm not a shooter. I'm not a scorer. I'm not good at basketball. But you know what I am? I'm a good freaking rebounder, dude.
Oh yeah.
I can find the right spot to jump up and grab that thing off the rim. Miami's in a good spot to catch the rebound, I think, right here at 15. It's are they going to score on their own? Are they going to be a corner 3 kind of team here and just rip your heart out? Probably not. But if that shot goes off the rim the right way and Notre Dame loses and Oklahoma and Texas and maybe Vanderbilt loses and maybe Utah, if there's a couple of things that break the Hurricanes' way, it would be a very impressive rebound, but they're kind of in that spot right off the block, right off the paint where they could maybe jump up there and grab that. and have a rebound effort to get in the playoffs. So a lot has to happen, but I'm with you, man. If they get some carnage, that's the only way I see this happening.
Yeah, they can maybe clean some glass here, but I think ultimately, despite all of the carnage that could unfold and they could find their way in the playoff conversation, they still have to get over their worst enemy, which is the month of November. So they gotta win. Like, they haven't shown us. Yeah, sorry, Miami.
No, I love it.
Sorry,
true.
Miami
It's
fans.
true.
You
100% true.
You don't have a good record in November the last couple years, and we still have a couple more weeks in the month. So I don't think there's any guarantees on their schedule as far as wins. They have to take care of business themselves, I think, before worrying about what's on everyone else's plate, because they haven't been able to win in this month very well and very consistently, and that's been their Achilles heel. So we'll see. Pitt coming up.
At Pitt, right?
Yeah.
I mean, cold weather. Like, I don't
NC State this
know.
weekend, who's been a little bit of a grim reaper in the ACC. Like, you can't count them out necessarily. But, yeah, November, handle your business, Miami, and see where you go. But if you don't handle your own business, none of this is even a conversation. You're not even the proverbial basketball game we're talking about to get some rebounds. You're just watching from the bench.